Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned the different comps. We've seen a lot of weapons that I didn't necessarily see, like I wasn't necessarily inspecting. The fantastic play by Erza there with the dualies that Inkjet used and just soaking up all that ink that we didn't see. I know the end parry dualies have been something that we've talked about for a while, like kind of behind the scenes, but to see it brought out in such a like powerful way, that's big. Some roller action snipers. We've seen a lot more snipers than I was expecting to see today, showing that the weapon class isn't quite dead. But yeah, just a lot more variety, I'd say, than I was expecting to see, especially after a lot of static comps yesterday in the group stages.
Yeah, funny thing about the Emperors, while we were watching that set, I went into training mode and put on some special charge, and I threw 3 curling bombs that didn't overlap, and 3 of them gave me over half my special meter, just from them painting as they moved around. So Emperors have a pretty big boost to how fast they charge special, and that on top of it means that if you understand the maps with the Emperors and you really want to spam Inkzukas, Inkjets, there you go.
Yeah, and let's talk about the set before us right now. For a second, I was scared there. The bracket online showed Extermination 3-0, and I was like, well, that was the fastest set that I've never seen. But Deadbeat and Extermination. Deadbeat looking masterful in their win over Tomo. Extermination looking very strong in their round 1 win as well. I don't know, what's your take on it? We've seen the double blaster comp coming out pretty much exclusively from Extermination. I don't know that I've seen any other team use it, and that's kind of been their brand in this tournament.
Yeah, no, they've been using that comp a lot. EXT's been switching up their comps. They've done a pretty good job. I think that when they're running that double blaster comp, them also running a sniper is a little bit questionable. I'm not sure if I like that, but I really like it when they run an SMG like the Tenatech or Splatter Shot that can paint pretty well, and that mini Splatling. That's pretty cool because they've been doing a pretty solid job of getting map control running the Rapid Blaster and the Mini, and then having their Tenatech and Blaster and like Luna Blaster just kind of go in and get a lot of slaying kills. I've liked that a lot. When they put the sniper on as well, a little bit, I don't like that quite as much. But they've shown a lot of willingness to be flexible with their team comps and to change up based on the situation. So maybe they'll also recognize that and stop doing that, or they'll find a better way to get it to work. Deadbeat, on the other hand, I really like how they've been using double missiles. We scrimmed with them a couple nights ago for a little bit, and they've been doing a really good job of making sure that whenever they push up, when they don't have map control, there's missiles also coming down on whatever was called out. So you can really tell just by taking a step back and watching how they play that one of them will call out they have missiles, someone will say, okay, missile right, the person with missiles will missile to the right, and then the whole team as a group will push the right side of the map to follow up with the missiles. It's really nice, and the fact that they've been running 2 of them for most of their sets has meant that they've been able to do it very consistently.
That H3 on the part of Hexen, and of course the slasher on the part of Penga, but it looks like we're going to get right into it in a map and mode that we have commentated several times in a different game, and it is quite a bit different in this one, I'd say. Well, what's your take on this map in particular as we get into it?
Well, I like this map a lot now. A lot of the problems with Port Mackerel have been solved with how this new version of the map has a ton of ways to get out of your spawn to take back mid-map control. One of the problems with Port Mackerel was that once one team got too much control, it was very hard for the other team to ever come back, and it was kind of like a big section of the game kind of didn't matter because of the slippery slope where one team was just kind of destined to win. Don't see as much of that anymore, but despite of all that, Deadbeat has gotten a few kills. They are starting to push up. However, as that happens, they have lost a few members, and it looks like the Rainmaker's going to suicide push while the sniper moves back just to stay alive.
Yeah, not a bad play there at the very start. Pretty solid defense here, and I'm glad that you pointed out that double missile because we saw that there at the start, actually, and they're one of the only teams, I think, that's been running the consistent double missile. We talked so much earlier in the pregame and just in general about Ink Armor, but the story of today has really been the Tenta missiles and the Inkjet. So yeah, pretty interesting to see that like early on in Splatoon 2's lifespan, at least.
Yeah, as we say this, missiles are being used to push back into the map. Banana here with the Rainmaker's forced to push back, pull back even more, which is giving Deadbeat even more meter because of the Rainmaker being picked up. And speaking of meter, the Inkjet does go down, starting to get some kills from Deadbeat, able to push back into the middle of the map. Tim's Inkjet is done now. He's by the Rainmaker, so we'll see how they play this objective and continue moving forward.
Yeah, and another interesting thing to note is this is the first time that I've seen Power go Fire Fin on something that isn't Splat Zone, so Looks like see something that I like there is Majin again staying with the Rapid Blaster. Majin's really been the anchor for this team. It seems like something might be going slightly wrong. Maybe they overextended a little bit. Majin's always there. Going back here to the middle, playing around on the sponge. They know that one's over there, but removing is easier said than done. Finally gets Joy-Con, but going to pay with their life. Joy-Con being, of course, Hexen. A little bit of a T-Tech duel. And now suddenly it's 3-1, and the last one is Power. Going to have to be very careful. That reset kind of saving them there, honestly.
Yeah, it took a little bit of time to actually get the Rainmaker to start moving that objective. It's going to give Deadbeat some time to reposition, regroup. Oh my gosh, the Rainmaker does make a pretty large push into Deadbeat spawn. 33 points. Plenty of time on the clock to deal with this, but having that kind of a push happen to you at the beginning of the game is never the best feeling, so hopefully Deadbeats can maintain their confidence and push forward.
Yeah, and it's difficult too, because this really opens up the game plan that Extermination likes to play, right? Now that they can kind of go in, they've got the lead, they know that they can make stuff happen now, they can work the flanks that they like. It's a great snipe there coming in from Echo. But yeah, the onus always on whoever is in second place, I guess, for lack of a better term, to make something happen. And now suddenly the push coming back here. You've talked about game-winning pressure constantly, and this is a difficult position if you're Deadbeat.
Yeah, being pushed back and having two blasters just kind of sharking and giving you trouble is always a big deal, especially since a lot of the key members of Deadbeats that have been taken out in the last minute or so that we've been watching have been members with special. So every time Deadbeats have gotten a special, that special has been taken out, which is going to make it very hard for them to push up. While this is all happening, though, a missile does go down. Rainmaker picked up. It looks like they're going to actually be able to start pushing forward. They do have a man down, but it seems like they have a bit of mid-map control to be able to facilitate this push. As long as the Rainmaker is able to move forward soon, I think that they'll have a decent shot at getting back mid-control. After they get mid-control, however, they're going to have to make a stronger push into the enemy base and, again, make that game-winning push that we talked about.
Yep, Majin there waited that entire time, of course. They cannot see those nice little names that we can see, but I think Majin waited there for almost 20 seconds, knowing that eventually the Rainmaker was going to come his way. And now he's got Bomb Rush as well. You see a lot of purple ink there, and he's going to use it immediately to try to break up some of that yellow ink to give his team a chance to push back in. But otherwise, Majin really has no reason to go in any more than he already has been. Rainmaker reset, and it doesn't seem like Deadbeat's created a whole lot of openings for themselves over the course of this game.
Yeah, they've been having a little difficulty just having 4 up an opportune position to push, and like we talked about earlier, Majin has been playing anchor with that Rapid Blaster and actually getting a lot of map control with it, which seems kind of odd for a Rapid Blaster to get, but when you combine the pinging power from other weapons and how Majin's just simply been playing that weapon, using hitboxes and bomb rushes and good positioning to just try to make sure that his teammates have a good backbone and a good ability to push, it's been working out pretty well. Again, really interesting, especially with the double blaster comps.
Yeah, the double blaster comes. We see another double Tentatech missile coming out there. Not Tentatech missile, I'm sorry. Tenta missile. Yeah, of course I had it. Anyway, but now we're finally seeing a chance here. Unfortunately, the Rainmaker goes down. They had a slight advantage there, and Power had his bomb rush. But going to get cleaned up there as, unfortunately, Hexen not going to be able to get the kill here on Banana either. And you're seeing what little map control they had going to go. It's him going to get called out by himself. And this is, I'm not really, a little bit of insult to injury there, but it does look like this is going to be it. And game 1, going to Extermination, handing Deadbeat their first loss of the day.
Yeah, no, that game, definitely, there was an early game push that put Deadbeat in sort of a negative position, but after that they just had difficulty really getting a grip on their court. Every time Deadbeat pushed into the middle of the map, players were going down, specials were being lost, and I think we can really chalk up a lot of what EXT's pressure was able to do, or we can chalk up a lot of the game-winning pressure that EXT did to taking out members of Deadbeats that had special. A lot of the deaths that happened for Deadbeats were those double missiles like we talked about, and sometimes even the bomb rush. And without those missiles that we talked about, them being able to move forward with, they weren't really able to kind of put together their game plan to put that pressure forward. So I think that they are going to have a different type of game in this next map that we have, Sturgeon Shipyard. Sturgeon Shipyard is a much more open map, a lot more room to paint. So if some of these key special weapons do end up being lost, the player that respawns can paint the base and guarantee at least some special saved for pushes going forward. So I think that will be a little bit different, and I think that the overall chokiness of the map will be different. I expect EXT to also run a sniper and maybe play a little bit more slow pace than they did on Port Mackerel. And if that if that does happen, the change of pace may be what Deadbeats needs to be able to move forward.
Yeah, I would agree there. The change of pace being, I don't know. We'll see. You know, Kagu's going to be gunning to put as much pressure on Power as he can. Power going to be staying on that Fire Fin. The comp staying almost exactly the same from Deadbeat here. But it looks like Kagu going to make a run at the middle. Both blasters on the right side there. Kagu somehow staying alive in all that big mix, finally going down. And it looks like Majin once again playing Anchor, going to take out Pengit there at the start. And both snipers up in a pretty similar position. Tim going to try to find some groundwork here on the left side. Might have got himself into a bad situation. Going to be forced to wait out here and not provide a lot of aid. But he is about to have Inkjet. Finally does have it, but not going to get to use it. You called it right there. Another special loss.
Yeah, it's unfortunate timing for Deadbeat when they're building up towards a special meter, towards a special weapon that doesn't get to be used. Deadbeat did have a slight opportunity to get a lot of map control there. All of EXT was kind of pushed back to their court, while Deadbeat had a kind of rounded control of the map looking at the overhead camera, and I think they just didn't realize the advantage that they had. While this is happening, though, the missiles are going down. I think all members of EXT were locked onto, and those missiles themselves almost paid at the zone. A 2v2 situation as EXT does hold the zone. Pengit over here to the left is going to push up with his slosher and try to deal with EXT. A trade does happen as it looks like there's a left-right pincer between the two teams pushing up into the zone.
Very difficult. Banana again going to paint. Even if it's not the Zimmy, that thing can still paint a factory for those Tentum missiles like we were talking about earlier. But it does seem like these missiles, well, nice. It doesn't seem like they're going down to him a lot. Finally, Tim's going to get that Inkjet off, but it just doesn't seem like they're getting a whole lot with it here. They do have control here. They're able to set some stuff up. A few Tentum missiles going to go here. We'll see if anything comes of it. Does seem to separate them a little bit. They get back in control. And this match has really kind of gone the way of whatever the Tentum missiles decide happen, honestly.
Yeah, we definitely see EXT having a lot of control of mid right now. We see Banana just being the mini, holding back, staying near the sniper, making sure he doesn't get flanked. His teammates push up. However, one of the teammates does get taken out, and the other blaster is not in position to defend right now. So if Deadbeat does push up properly, they can take the zone and at least stop EXT from being able to get more time. It just really is up to Deadbeat to get mid-map control and start pushing on the EXT side of the map. They are still kind of pushed back. We see the H3 kind of push back, Power push back with his sniper. Tim also flanking right now, but he doesn't really have much support because his team's not there to help him. He is taken out after taking out Banana, and Deadbeat does then manage to get the zone in this 2v2 situation. Looks like they actually are going to be able to take some map control if they can just kill Gusto here.
Yeah, and a great job there. Pengit came up at like almost exactly the right time, but I think Kagu might be getting back in there and does with the baller. Not going to get any kills, but he's still also not dealt with. Like, that's the thing. Kagu's not killing, but as long as he's there, you have to deal with him. And it looks like they're going to be able to get back control there. Pretty solid job from what looked like a sticky situation. Now we're going to see that suction bomb rush come in from Echo, and missiles flying everywhere. I love this overhead view for that reason. And they're going to do a little bit of damage to the zone, but I think Power might have just, Power got the kill there on Banana, and that was big. That was their big painting weapon. They should be able to take the lead here as long as Pengit stays alive, and they do take out Majin. Kagu not going to be able to paint by himself. Kagu forced back. Power up in that commanding position in the start, and it looks like ticking down to 10 seconds here. A wall coming out. Tim in position. Everyone in position. Very good response by Deadbeat after that shaky start.
Yeah, they showed a lot of mental resolve with being able to actually grab onto victory and not let go of it when they finally got map control there. A lot of really good pincer teamwork between different members of Deadbeat, narrowing their sights down on one member of EXT at a time. I think that in that last engagement that got Deadbeat control, I don't think there was the single 1v1 that happened. Every single time someone from Deadbeat was fighting someone else from Deadbeat was also fighting that person, which led to that full team wipe. And then once they got control, like we said, they got mid-map control, and then they started dominating EXT side of the map. It brought the set to 1-1.
Yeah, brought the set to 1-1, and they, like you said, they just never really let go. And I know you've talked a lot about the call-outs of Pengit, and I know I listened to a lot of their games from yesterday. Their communication so stellar, doing a great job of getting, like you said, those 2v1s. Why take a 1v1 when you can get a 2v1? And it's, the comp that they run, their two Tentum missile users have some range to them, so they're never really out of that 2v1, I guess you could say, range. They've always got a way to get around there if Tim goes out by himself, or if anything happens, they're always there. So Starfish main stage, tower control, this is maybe the most dangerous tower ride in the game. I feel like every time I get on the tower here, I am only one or two steps away from death. So I don't know. What's your take here? And do you think that we'll see a different team come out here from Deadbeat?
I think that they got a lot of confidence going on for that next game. Now, like you said, this is a map where the tower ride is pretty dangerous. I think the only map that's more dangerous is Muscle Forge Fitness, and they're dangerous for similar reasons because the tower has to go horizontally across the map, which is right in the face of the enemy. It just so happens that on Muscle Forge Fitness, that ride is just underneath the enemy spawn where they can just kind of shoot down at you. Not too different on this map, though, and this map is a very strange beast. I think this is one of the least understood maps in the game. The flanks constantly available, the top mid of the map hard to hold. We see two blasters trading over here to the right side of the map as the rest of the team, both teams, just try to scramble for control of mid. No real progress being made yet. We see some specials ready from EXT. I expect an Ink Armor to go down soon, as unfortunately the Bomb Rush gets taken out as Echo is taken out. That armor doesn't really go to much use. It does sort of delay Deadbeat's push as we go back to a neutral situation there, but unfortunately that NZAP on the side of EXT did not use their armor when they kind of needed to.
Yeah, not using their armor when they needed to, and Tim also went down there with Inkjet, and that's very difficult in that position because Inkjet can really mess up a lot of things here, right? There's a lot of different ways that you can adjust your altitude almost accidentally, right? By flying over these different things, making yourself a very hard target to hit. So I would, of course, keep an eye on the Inkjets. We see Penget going with the custom blaster this game for that exact reason. Another Inkjet available to them. But now we see a counter push here from EXT, and now suddenly that double blaster comp starts to show its teeth.
Yeah, that double blaster comp makes it really effective to just kind of shark and wait for members of the enemy team to try to actually stop this tower. As we do see Deadbeat trying to defend, a lot of them go down. It's a 4v1 situation, 3v1 situation. EXT on the tower, grouped up, pushing hard on Deadbeat right now, and this is looking very scary for Deadbeat. Yeah,
Kagu's usually the one that's putting this pressure on, but now he's the tower rider, and he's going to do just enough to take out Penget, and there you go. Oh, what? That was the longest final point I've seen in any game. Tim crushed by the tower. What in the world happened there?
Yeah, getting stuck underneath the tower during that vertical ramp right there. That was a very strong response from EXT to Deadbeat. The first game was kind of back and forth. You know, EXT got that early lead, and they just made sure that was the victory and that they weren't pushed on. Game 2, they had an early lead, and then Deadbeat just completely came back and forced them back to their side of the map and just took the game in that splat zones. And then in the Starfish main stage, EXT probably had the most convincing win yet in this set, just absolutely dominated the map. After the very first engagement that was kind of a neutral situation, it just swung into EXT's favor as they took advantage of their weapons and the map that being having a little bit of slippery slope to it, and just drove the tower to victory.
And I believe I saw 4 Ink Armors coming out there from was that? I believe that was that have been Echo?
I think it would be Banana. Banana's been running.
Armors. 4 Ink Armors that fast. Like, yeah, that's something worth noting.
Banana has been running a lot of Mini and NZAP, and it seems like those are the two weapons that a lot of former Zemi mains have been choosing in this game. The NZAP and the Vanilla Mini both kind of, they take aspects of the old Zinc Mini Splatling and let you choose which aspects do you want. Do you want the long-range turfing and, like, you know, special spam, or do you want the ability to kind of push out, which is the new bubble in the Ink Armor from the NZAP? But that all being said, this is a very wide open map where both teams are going to have access to a lot of specials. Let's see if Deadbeats can pull this back to EXT and bring this up to 2-2.
Double Ink Armor coming out here on the part of Extermination. It looks like they saw something they liked there, and with 4 Ink Armors that quick, why not? But I'm glad that you mentioned that this is an open map, because Majin, this entire tournament, has really been playing on that right side that he's already at once again. Great position to kind of run things down. Is Kagu going to be able to get a double there? How? How is Kagu still alive? That's a triple.
Wow, that was a huge push, and Majin is already on the right side of the map, heading this push. So the Rainmaker is going to be able to move very fast. A lot of territory already taken. It's going to be stopped at 15 points. Now, on this map, Deadbeat does have the option to take the Rainmaker up the zip line to kind of go for a counter push, but right now it seems like EXT is still in Deadbeat's base, and it might be actually difficult for them to get the Rainmaker out in time to actually make a sizable counter push. It looks like they're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, the old-fashioned way, and it really kind of seemed like Power was in a very unfortunate position there. Once you jump down from your side, it's really kind of hard to get back up. We see Tim kind of dancing around there on that side, and now we might have a little bit of a counter push. Power's up there. I don't know how close Power is to Ink Armor, but you always assume it's close.
This might actually be a win for Deadbeat right now. There was no one from EXT in position except for Kaguso. Kaguso does get the kill, and unfortunately for Deadbeat, they do go down, but that was a very scary moment for EXT. They were kind of out of position, and the entire EXT base was covered in Deadbeat's paint, so unfortunately that only goes to 46 points, but that must have been very scary for EXT, and it also probably put a little bit of gas in the tank of Deadbeat seeing that opportunity and knowing that they are able to get those kinds of pushes. So let's see if they're able to kind of go for this map control and do that again. They have 3.5 minutes to do so.
Yeah, Majin, of course, being a pest there on the right side. Got it 1 kill, and now going in with that bomb rush to take back mid after they'd lost it a little bit. We do see the Inkjet come out here from Tim. Not going to be able to get the... Okay, does get the kill on Kagu, but unfortunately that's a trade, and that's not something you want. 3 down here for Yellow Team, and it's really just Hexen. Hexen's sharking for his life. Not going to be able to get... Okay, does get 1 kill, and gets off the Ink Armor. That's actually really big because they are in a very commanding position here. Tim going to get the kill on Majin, aided by that Ink Armor, and gets the trade with Echo. But now they're 3 down again, and it's just Power. And wow, they just... these trades are really, really not working out. They need doubles right now. They need to be able to get back this mid-control. Deadbeat, that is.
Yeah, they really need to go ahead and do what they did in that Surgeon Shipyard game, which is pincer one member of the EXT at a time. But instead, Kaguso just getting the double kill, possibly the triple kill. No, taken out. But the Rainmaker is moving again into Deadbeat's base. Majin with the Rapid Blaster is kind of being a nuisance right now, stopping Deadbeat from easily pushing out. He does get taken out. 4 members of Deadbeat alive. This is an opportunity for a push. Maps started to be being painted yellow right now, as Tim's going to take the Rainmaker here over to the right and hopefully be assisted by his team in order to get the Rainmaker up and around this corner.
Yeah, I'm looking to see when is this Ink Armor going to come to play. They have 2 Ink Armor weapons, and they're going to need one of them to pop it here pretty quick right now. Their main Slayer, Tim, does have the Rainmaker right now, so not going to be able to lead the charge like he usually would be able to. Echo going to take him out. Kagu going to get the chance to respawn here, and unfortunately, Enzap going down right now. Kagu going to get the kill onto Penguin as well. The last one goes down to the Rainmaker explosion, and it just seems like every time they just kind of get picked clean one little piece at a time every time they get a push started.
Yeah, Kagu has been a terror. We saw how he responded to being targeted by those missiles in that situation by simply just rushing in, avoiding the missiles, and taking out the players that were relying on those missiles to put pressure on him. And unfortunately for the rest of Deadbeat, they were also taken out, so that team wipe, what seemed like could have been a potential push, turned to a team wipe for Deadbeat, and they weren't unable to actually get points on the board. Now we do see Deadbeat is starting to get some map control. Rainmaker goes down, 2 kills for Deadbeat, 2v4 situation, an Ink Armor and a 10 of missiles already. 1 member of Deadbeat does get taken out, but this is a 3v1 situation, which could win.
This is big.
Game. This is a lot of specials going down. Rainmaker is moving. It seems like it's going to be it.
Oh, so very close. Tim was not able to take out the last one that they needed
but
there.
Still a 3v1.
They get it. Okay, yep, that's it. And that's going to be the knockout that they needed. I did not see that 3 of them went down. Wow, okay, you know what? I'm done. This game can play itself. I'm done with this. On my screen, that looked like the Rainmaker touchdown. But in any case, certainly 1, the second best thing that you could have, to 0, of course. But no, they finally got it going there, and they changed those specials like you were talking about earlier. I think 3 specials came out there, Ink Armor, 10 missile, and everything. So great job coordinating that, getting the push they needed. Now it's just play defense. 30 seconds left.
Last 30 seconds, time to play objective in EXT, as they are starting to push forward. The Rainmaker dodging some bombs, but members of EXT are going down, and even if they get a kill here or 2 on Deadbeat, it's not going to be a very clean push. 2v2 situation, EXT desperately holding on to Kaguso, going down to Tim.
Wow.
So unlike the rest of this match, Kaguso is not going to get the clutch kills that he needs. Tim just sharking the Rainmaker right now. Echo taken out, completely just targeted, and that is going to be game 4.
And I actually want to highlight there were 2 people up left in that like lower zone. There was Echo, who was the Enzap, and Kagu, which was that Luna Blaster, and Tim got the Rainmaker and then got Kagu. I think if he doesn't get Kagu in that situation, I think we might be talking about a different story right now. Echo was still there, and yeah, no, I believe it was either Echo or Banana, but one of them was still there in that situation. So great job by Tim getting the kills that he needed to, maybe not realizing just how much was riding on him getting that kill on Kagu, but he did it as he so often does. And now we're finally seeing our first game 5 and the new, and some would say improved, Moray Towers Splatoon. What's your take on it?
Well, I do want to say that I think that pretty much every situation that's going down for Deadbeat is, if we don't kill Kagu, this is going to be a completely different situation, because Kagu has been getting those crazy top scores, and unlike something like an Enzap that can get a lot of assists from Ink Armors, those are pretty much all kills from Kagu. he's been going nuts. So I think just put Kagu in a cage, take him out, then get the rest of the team may be the way that Deadbeat is going to have to go about some of these game-winning pushes. Not all the time, of course. You want to get map control, but when the chips are down and you need to push in no matter what, got to take out Kagu. That all being said, I don't know if Luna's actually that strong on Moray. This is I mean, it is a new game, so I think at this point it's more up to just being good at the game in general. It doesn't really matter too much about meta, but the Luna Blaster, I'd have to kind of see it to believe it, and I'm sure that Kagu is going to want to have you see it and believe it. But Power right now picking E-Leader. I think this is the first time we've seen Deadbeat pick E-Leader in this set, or maybe even the tournament on stream at least, as both teams just kind of dance in a neutral situation here in the center of the map.
Yeah, this is something that we've seen a lot now, too. E-Leaders going at it on this map. But one thing that you can expect to see from Majin is he's already worked his way into that former zone area there on right. That has been his honey hole, I guess you could say. That's been where he's gone, and it looks like they are well aware of that. Tim already putting pressure onto Majin, forcing him into the middle. I don't know how he's still alive, honestly. Finally goes down, and that is going to be their game plan there, is control Kagu and try to move Majin off that spot. Hexen, unfortunately, going in just a little bit too deep and missing that shot, and they're kind of throwing themselves at Kagu right now, although Pengit does get the kill that he needed. Out come the 10 missiles, and kind of a crisis averted right there, honestly. If he was able to get that kill, we've said it again, but Kagu, he's really good at this game, guys.
Yeah, no, that was a situation where Hexen and Pengit had the right idea. They were like, okay, here's Kagu, let's double team him. Unfortunately, Hexen was the more forward of the two members of Deadbeat with that H3. So what ended up happening was he was caught out of position by the Luna, and he couldn't really do much about it because H3 is generally kind of immobile and kind of bad in a close-range firefight. Pengit was able to get the revenge kill, and the rest of Deadbeat was able to get control of the zone. And speaking of control of the zone, Deadbeat does get control again to slightly further their lead as we fall back into a neutral situation right now. Tim kind of respawning up at Snipe. I know that Majin seems to be pushing up the zip line towards Tim. Let's see how this goes down. It looks like Majin is going to be punished for going up the zip line onto the enemy Snipe. That's a 4v3 situation for Deadbeat as they continue to get time on the zone.
Maybe a little bit too aggressive. Kagu going to get called out and essentially triple teamed in that situation right there. We haven't really seen we haven't seen much coming in from either of the snipers right now. This is mostly just a battle of calling things out and keeping control without overextending too much. It seems like the team that's overextending is the one that's kind of in a bad situation. Majin there on the left, not going to get a lot done, and it looks like we do see a repositioning coming out from Echo, and it's going to pay off for him right there. E-Leader picking up a big kill there, and they might get control of both zones here. Not quite enough range. Okay, finally does get it. And now we do see a very, very timely Ink Storm come in, but Kagu's going to get a chance to go up and snipe there. Let's see what he's able to do.
He is going to get taken out. Not going to get taken out. No, he avoids dying to the slasher from above. Power going for tap shots. Kagu using his baller to stay alive, and EXT has gotten a 4v1 situation as they're able to take out most of Deadbeat. Tim, the sole member alive, probably going to try to stay alive and use that Inkjet to overextend a little bit while he pushes back, and then use the Inkjet to recall, so it's actually not an overextension, but unfortunately gets taken out by Kagu at the last second right before his team's able to help, as EXT is putting a lot of points on the board right now. Deadbeat still kind of pushed up on their side of the map, but I doubt that they'll be able to hold the lead just based on the positioning of players right now. Kagu is camping in the center of the map, kind of waiting. He gets pushed back by some paint, but now EXT has the lead, so it's up to Deadbeat to take this game into their own hands. Inkstorm going down, a lot of paint going on in the zone. It looks like they may get control here if Tim doesn't die. Yes. They do, and now the ball is in Deadbeat's court.
Yeah, and that was very, very clutch. Great job there building up their specials in that situation. I was so worried that one of them was going to jump down preemptively. You know, one of the underrated aspects of Tenemis is seeing exactly where your opponents are. Is Tim, unfortunately, somehow going to get the kill and survive that. He's called out right now, but that is a huge kill. He's going to get the chance to wait here and continue putting pressure on this spawn. I don't know if he sees the two that are down there. He's going to instead go for Kagu here. Kagu calls him out. What a mid-air battle. But all the while, they were losing back down there. Pengit unfortunately forced all the way back to the right. Majin going to go for him. And now he's got to be careful here. Banana might get the kill on him, and does. And this pressure finally starting to chip away at the armor that Deadbeat has. They've got to be careful now. Every mistake they make right now could lose them the game.
Yeah, last minute of the game. EXT in the lead. It's going to take 40 seconds before they can even start chipping away at the timer because this is a high-scoring game right now, and the penalties are high. Deadbeat putting a lot of pressure on the zone. They're starting to paint. Unfortunately, Hexen goes down. 3v4 situation for Deadbeat as an Inkstorm goes down, forcing Tim back. Kago going to jump in, get taken out by Power, though, as you can see to the right side of your screen. And Deadbeat is actually starting to push pretty well into the center of the map. There are some members of EXT still doing some damage, but missiles are going down. Members of Deadbeat are painting the zone right now, and it looks like they should be able to get control.
Wow!
Majin goes for flank.
That was actually a huge kill because Tim had Inkjet. I'm not sure why he didn't use it. I guess he just didn't think that Echo would be able to get the kill, but that was huge.
Off your screen, Power just challenged Majin to a 1v1 and tap-shotted him down with the EU leader at close range. If Deadbeat does manage to win this game, it might come down to that play because Majin was behind everyone, but unfortunately it looks like Augusto is causing a lot of trouble for Deadbeat in the center of the map, and that is going to be it. They cannot get the zone, and EXT takes it.
EXT does take it, so like some big plays coming in from both sides there. Both snipers making huge plays. Tim approached Echo and had Inkjet, and if he was able to get that kill onto Echo, he would have been able to get a flank. He would have had Inkjet. It would have been a totally different situation than what ended up happening there at the end. But instead, Echo makes the clutch kill on Tim there that he needed. And wow, some big plays. But one thing that I want to point out, Banana's pressure onto the snipe. We saw him earlier jump off and get that double from the ink rails. And then a second time there, he came up there and got the kill onto Pengit and took snipe. And that was really kind of his role. He was the only shooter there on Extermination, and he played it beautifully.
Yeah, that was a game. Those were games where Deadbeat and EXT both traded control. But when EXT got control, it was very dominating, and they pushed very far into Deadbeat's side of the map. I noticed that a lot of time when Deadbeat got control, they kind of stayed towards the middle of the map, and they didn't put that much overwhelming pressure on EXT. So as soon as they lost an engagement, EXT was immediately able to control the objective. That I saw a lot of that. So when you have those close-range weapons like you were talking about from EXT doing all that work, it's also because of like where their positioning was. They weren't only getting the kills, but they were getting the kills forward in Deadbeat's side of the map, which meant that if Deadbeat won those engagements, at best they got to move to the center of the map and then start working on the objective. Whereas on the other hand, when Deadbeat got kills on EXT, when they were pushed up, it kept the pace going. But when EXT got kills on Deadbeat, when Deadbeat was in control, Deadbeat immediately just lost control.
Yeah. And that's very big win. Finally, the game 5 that we had been hoping to see. We were excited for that set the entire day, but Extermination showing that they just have a little bit more right now, using not necessarily the meta comp. And I'm really interested in seeing